So profit isn't fair. It's important to understand if you're a small business owner, you're adding lots of value in the world, and yet you're not accumulating the cash and the profits that you'd like to be. The reward to time investment isn't adding up. It's important to realize profit isn't fair. If profit was fair, then nurses and doctors and teachers would be some of the most profitable people in the economy, but that's not the case. So let me give you 2 examples of how profit isn't fair, and then I'm going to tell you what to do about it for your own business. The first example is the airline industry. Now, for the last couple of decades, even before COVID, airlines haven't been profitable. I mean, between about 4 and 5%. So the huge volumes that they have to achieve, and yet consider what goes into running an airline. Consider all of the infrastructure, all of the training, all of the compliance, all of the logistics. And if they don't get your baggage there exactly on time, you're gonna lose your mind. If the flight's delayed just an hour, it's gonna be a social media outcry. Like, the height of expectations that we have on the hugely complex business model, you would think that with that level of sophistication that it would be incredibly profitable, and yet it's not at all. Why? Because profit isn't fair. My next example is Rolex. Now, this is a ridiculous business because their product is completely superfluous. Rolex is a highly profitable business, and yet they haven't innovated in any meaningful way in about 25 years. No one needs a Rolex. Everybody already has about 10 different devices that can tell the time. And if you really, really want a stainless steel thing on your wrist that's got Swiss timing and only tells the time and definitely doesn't connect to Wi-Fi, well, then you can easily get a watch at 1/10 of the cost of Rolex. So it's absolutely stupid and weird and ridiculous that a company like Rolex would be so profitable, and yet they are. So why is it that an airline or a teacher or a nurse struggles to be profitable given that the value that they add to society, and yet Rolex, which really doesn't add anything of value to society, is incredibly profitable? And the answer? High school economics, supply and demand. If there's more demand than supply, prices go up. If there's more supply than demand, prices go down. The fact of the matter is that demand outstrips supply for Rolex. Now, do you think this is because they just can't keep up with manufacturing? Of course not. They limit the amount of Rolexes that they're going to make in any given year just under the amount of expected demand that they know that they can create. This creates a level of scarcity and profits go up. But that's not how airlines work. For every person that wants to buy a ticket, there's about 1.1 seats flying around. So regardless of social benefit, the complexity of a business model, or just trying really hard, because supply exceeds demand, airlines just aren't profitable. It's just the way it is. Demand and supply set the price and the profitability in every industry, in every business, including yours. Now here's the rub. So every time you think, I'm working really hard, but I'm not earning what I'm worth, you're probably not working as hard as an airline, and they're not very profitable either. Until you accept the rules of the game, business won't seem fair. Once you do accept that profit is just a function of supply and demand, then you start to get to look at your business a little bit differently. So here's how it works. You're a business owner, you're a master creator, you're a force of nature, but the problem is you're putting a lot of that force into your business, which is the supply side. You're making a better product, you're making a better service, and you might hire a team or extra people, and now you're managing them, but really you're just optimizing the supply side of the equation. This is why the vast majority of business owners are putting huge amounts of effort in. They might be even growing their revenues, but they're certainly not growing their profitability. And when they look at their personal bank accounts, if they were to calculate an hourly rate, they're looking a lot more like an airline than a Rolex. If you're working in your business, you're a master at manufacturing supply. The trick is, how do we get you to work on your business? And the way you begin to work on your business is by shifting your focus from manufacturing supply to manufacturing demand. Now just imagine that for a moment. Imagine you shifted your focus. I'm not suggesting that you can't still make sure that you're delivering great value to customers, but what if your focus shifted? What if you realized that the role of the founder, that your role wasn't to manufacture supply, but was to manufacture demand? Consider your heroes in business. They're not hidden behind the scenes. They're standing out and visibly communicating their vision, their mission, and their value proposition. And the more people they can reach, the more demand they create, the more profitable they become, and the more impact they generate in their business. They are the key people of influence, and it is your job to be that founder brand, to be that key person of influence, because it is the role of the key person of influence to manufacture demand for the business. And the beauty of the times that we're in is it's never been easier to be able to allow your reputation to precede you, if you will. So until you're a key person of influence, your full-time job is to become that key person of influence. Until you do, business is hard. Why? Because profit isn't fair. So hit me up in the comments. What's your insight from those two case studies, the airline and the Rolex? Are you a little bit too much like an airline, or are you already doing some really cool things that make you a Rolex? Or if you got a whole different take on this as well? I'd love your thoughts in the comments. Also, I'd love to know, what are you gonna do differently as a result? Of course, as always, if you'd like to know more about how to become a key person of influence in your industry, or get yourself a copy of the best-selling book, just go to kpiworkshop.com. Love to be able to help. My name's Glenn. Be brave. Have fun. Let's go make a dent in the universe.